Hey, Torp here. I want to cover a couple things that I've been watching for a while. As you guys know, I've been following the, as I call it, sort of a police state, knowing your rights and all that good stuff. Been sharing quite a few comments with you guys. If you're not subscribed to me or in my YouTube circle, then you probably don't have a clue what I'm talking about, so I'll help you out. I noticed that the police in the regular world are civilian police, in each state, each county. They never get thanked for doing a good job, or at least not that much. Sometimes you see them on the local media, local news, whatever, and they're heroes, and they get like this thing to where the local media gives them like 2 minutes to be heroes. And I get that. If you save a life, if you do something courageous, yeah, by all means, yeah, give them a shout out, right? We do it here on YouTube. Why shouldn't the police get that? But then there's the other 98% of the police that abuse the law, harass citizens, and don't seem to understand the Constitution and save their fucking lives, which really bothers me a lot. And then that's why I've been doing what I've been doing. On the other side of that coin, we have the military police, which I just now started recently watching. And just so you know, I have a bit of history with the military. I was in the Coast Guard. I was in Kilo Company 135. Yeah, Google it. Anyway, I was there. And this was back in 1991, so I never really actually understood any of this stuff back then. Back then, it was just about the Iraq War, Gulf War. It was about a lot of stuff, but it wasn't about this. It wasn't about knowing your Constitution. Back then, your Constitution was just about that, your constitutional rights. It wasn't about debate like it is now. But as I've been watching the police state unfold, which is how I like to put it, I noticed that we have some videos popping up, and especially like just today, for 9/11, they quite a few of them popped up where people were taking their First Amendment test to the academies and the military bases, and I was just shocked that they would do that, because that's not like real police. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not real police. It's just not in a civilian level. They only deal with the military when they police, right? So I'm watching these, and I hear people say, thank you for your service. Well, when I went into the service, I had one objective. It was to learn to trade, it was to get paid, and have a career and retire in 20 years. That was my objective. I know what you're going to say. Well, how about protecting our country? Well, isn't that a given? Of course you're in the military to protect your country. That's exactly what you learn from the day that you know how to read, and you understand how things work in the country that you live in. So yeah, of course it was about to protect the country. I'm not going to kill another man unless it's in self-defense of the country that I live in and the people that live within it. With that said, I saw these videos unfold in front of my very eyes where people were thanking these servicemen for their duties. And I thought, well, I've always been a bit offended by that. I didn't do it to be thanked. Don't thank me for my service. I volunteered for this. I went in there and I signed up for it. I knew I was going to get paid. I knew what I was doing. I knew I could get killed. I knew all these things. This was not volunteer work. I voluntarily signed up for the work I was going to get paid for, reimbursed for, and compensated for to better take care of my family. So at the same time, I think to myself, why don't you ever hear people say to a police officer, thank you for your service? You never hear that. I have not heard it on any of these videos to date. The reason being is because we see a lot in the media about what the service people do. The men and women, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Army, and we see it daily. And I agree with it. I agree that they are putting a lot on the line for our country. But then so do our police officers. It wasn't until just recently I saw these men test their First Amendment speech out on police that were actually military police. I get a little bit aggravated when people specify other people and make them out to be bigger than they are. I'll give you an example. Doesn't it not bother you when a celebrity dies and everybody goes crazy about it? And then I think to myself, well, my father died. Nobody gave a shit. Except for my family. My immediate family, the only ones I heard from. It wasn't on the news. But yet when a celebrity dies, everybody cares. Everybody's up in arms about a celebrity dying. I'm thinking to myself, no, they're not better than my father was. They never will be. That's the media. It's the same thing with the military police. I love what they do and I love what they stand for. But why are they the only ones being told that their service is appreciated and thank a veteran? when our police officers are doing the exact same thing. They put their lives on the line every day. Not a 4-term, not a 6-term, not a 20-term, but every day. Every single day. They don't get to go on leave. So when I see this happening in my own home, on my monitor, where a service person is thanked for their service but a police officer is not, that drives me insane. I served in our military, and not once was I ever thanked, but I see that is the case. That's why I'm bothered a little bit. Just a little bit, but not much. Here's why. Our Constitution normally gets trampled on by our military, while our street officers, the 1% that actually understand the Constitution, actually uphold it and back us up. I just watched a video tonight. This is the third of my favorites. Our military police don't understand the Constitution as well as our local police officers do. So this problem stems a lot deeper than I thought it did. While you should thank your servicemen for doing a good job, I agree with that, but not for doing their job, which they signed up for and volunteered for. They're being compensated. Pray they do a good job and pray for their families and pray they come home safe. But don't ever thank somebody for doing a job that they chose to do only because it makes you sound better as a human being to do it. Mean it. Because right now everything looks like commercialized shit to me as far as thanking somebody for doing their job. I don't get thanked for doing my job. I'm not going to thank somebody else for doing theirs. I'm just going to hope they come home safe and call it a day. So when your constitutional rights are in jeopardy, don't get pissed off at the people that put YouTube videos up exercising their rights to make sure that yours are recognized each time that you go out in the public and somebody forgets what they are. Because now you might have an upper hand on when somebody screws you over, you know what to do. So don't piss on the very fucking fence that keeps you safe at night from the people that are out to oppress you. Live a good life, love thy neighbor, and know your rights. Torp out.